let's look at something that came up. I want to get into this Biden. We call it a Biden red pilled moment. And I know that I've heard different different analysis of this, but I'm very interested in your analysis on this, Jay, because we always like to look for the layers and not just what is being said. Like what, and it's okay. We can do this, guys. We're allowed to do this. We're allowed to speculate and to investigate and not have the answers, but give our best informed opinion based on our critical thinking skills that we have right in front of us. So you guys, and our audience knows this. They know we're not, oh, you said it was this, and now it's, as we get more information, we can apply that, and then our opinions can adjust. And then when we're ready to report you guys facts, we report you facts. So in this case, let's hear it straight up verbatim, and then let's have a discussion about what is actually going on here. Because I'm absolutely curious about your thoughts, and you guys watching as well. Tell us what you think of this. Please ignore the music in the background. I was unable to find somebody that posted it raw. I hate it when people do that because I want to hear it raw. So just ignore the music. There'll be some text on the screen, but just try to listen to this for what it is as on its own. Here we go.
It looked to me as I traveled when I was out with you in California, what it reminded me of more of a war scene where you had certain targets that were bombarded, where artillery was just blew them up. With no rhyme or reason. In other words, you'd have this fire going crazy and burning everything down and 3 houses being fine. Nothing's happening. Or neighborhoods that were still green. Still green. And next to a place that, for example, we're just looking at a Secret Service house that was out there. All the vehicles are melted. Yet the house next door still has green shrubbery on it. And, the house is fine. There's only, I think, 4 or 5 houses in that 200, it's in the Pasadena area. But my generic point is, it's almost like it's a battle scene.
But Mr. President, we saw that in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida with hurricanes.
Yeah.
This is also the nature of, to your point, this changing climate, these extreme weather conditions.
Jay Scott, what the hell is going on in that room there? What is Kamala so interested in getting in there and getting a word in? Please explain. What are you watching here?
It feels like Kamala just wanted to get him back on track because he literally compared it to a war scene. And like, I remember seeing some visuals coming out over there, and you're in LA, so I'd love to hear if you've seen this too, but I'm seeing like some videos and images of like big trees that are still standing, but then completely burned homes, like right beside the trees that are still standing too. So like, I don't know, something about it, does seem, off. But as far as Biden's comments in particular, I guess Joe forgets where he is sometimes. So, you do have the possibility of the truth accidentally coming out if someone is kind of a little bit gone. Plus, he's about to leave office right now. So maybe deep down, he wants to get at least a little bit of honesty out there. So who knows what could actually be happening. But from the way he's describing it, he does make it sound like it could be something intentional going on. So that was pretty surprising for me to hear when I heard that too. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree that there was some sort of like in his elderly state of mind and he's on his way out. I do agree there's certainly seems to be a bit of rawness, like I don't give an F.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with my, just instinctually what I'm looking at and not worry about consequences. I think that's the difference with Joe Biden. Forget the fires for a moment. We kind of seen this behavior since Kamala took his spot and he had that bitterness, right? He had that what the hell? Did you guys just bait and switch me on this ticket? So there's been obviously this resentment. We've seen that. But there's honestly this idea that there's no consequences. I'm just going to talk freely. I think that's what we're seeing here. So you're getting like an old man assessment. Like this is actually Grandpa Joe, like an actual Grandpa Joe, no position of power, just telling the people in the room what he saw in an honest way. I think that's what we're seeing. And again, guys, this is not about This is we have the proof. We have the proof right here. DEW proof. No, we're saying this is an assessment from somebody in a position of power that isn't picking and choosing his words in this moment, and we're able to have an honest critique, I guess, until Kamala cuts him off and says, "Remember?" And I love that part. I love that part where she's like, "We've seen this in North Carolina," and she was trying to say, "See the hurricane," and he interrupted her again. He goes, "Yes, I've seen that there too, and I saw it in." So she unknowingly connected the dots even more for him because he wasn't even thinking about North Carolina. She brought it up. He's like, "Yeah, it's like I've kind of seen this disaster thing in all these places. It's kind of weird, yeah."
Remember, Joe, we have to remind people about climate change so we can limit how much food they can eat each week. Like, if we don't use this to guilt trip people to eating what we want them to eat, because like, you're excited for the bugs, right, Matt? If you don't want this to happen, then you have to start eating bug steaks. Are you ready for your roach steaks, man? Because Bill Gates, is cooking up the recipe right now, and we all know how trustworthy he is, man. So
oh yeah,
that's pretty much what I think they're trying to get at. Oops, sorry about that.
No worries. Well, I'm gonna play this is another it's kind of related because we're talking about LA. This is the WEF. Klaus Schwab is talking about LA, the plan for 2030. And I think this is important because this shows us, and I think you shared this out, Jay, this so I want your take on this and how we can kind of connect this honest assessment by our president and another president figure who's the head of the WEF telling us what's going to be happening in LA in 2030. Check this out.
Yes, Governance Summit. You will use the app like Uber, but not anymore to call some driver, but automatically guided car, a self-driven car, will come to your hotel or wherever you are and will bring you to the airport. No, Los Angeles is one of the cities with the heaviest traffic, who told me in 2030 Los Angeles will be private car driven free. And this will allow to transform highways into parks and other public spheres.
Oh boy. So let's connect these. And again, we know there's people out there that they might see these clips back and forth and like back to back. I mean, we just did a back to back of the president's honest assessment and then an actual breakdown of what's coming in LA. There's people out there I know, they're going to say, "What are you suggesting, Matt and Jay? What do you guys suggest?" No, we're gathering all the information. We're trying to understand what is possibly coming in the near future and how many people wanted this to happen. That's the other key. So what are your thoughts? And I know you shared this one out. That's very concerning, seeing that being said out in the open. But it seems that Klaus Schwab likes to stay stuff out in the open. So we're getting it right from his mouth. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it sounds like you're going to own nothing and you're going to be happy. We're going to speed that process up to make sure you don't think that you should own a car. We're going to burn down your house. We're going to stop you from driving private cars. And yeah, like, you're going to like take our new public transport system, which, we're not going to have information on who's controlling, the cars and what they can do with it if they want to reroute people. So me personally, I don't really have too much trust, in them controlling that, kind of system. But it reminds me again of what happened in Hawaii, because Hawaii was also supposed to be another 15-minute city. And it feels like, at least with these most recent natural disasters we've had, like, there are huge connections to like gigantic global agendas, like in the areas that these worst disasters have happened in. Like in North Carolina, there were a bunch of mineral deposits, inside the area that people didn't want to leave. And now all of a sudden, we're I believe from what I heard, they're going to be mining up some of those minerals that they couldn't get to before because people were living there. So, like, I don't know, it feels like natural disaster after natural disaster winds up benefiting like the same group of people every time. So I'm not saying I know for a fact, Klaus Schwab sent goons out there to like light stuff on fire. That's not what I'm suggesting. But when you look at the overall situation in LA, the water reservoirs were empty. They knew some of the water reservoirs were empty. They knew some of the fire hydrants weren't working properly. They knew that there was a potential for this to happen, yet they did nothing about it. They cut the department budget for the fire department. Like, it seems like either it's complete gross negligence to the level where you cannot allow the people in power to get power again because they're so bad at their job. It's either that level of negligence or intentional corruption. So I don't know which one it is, but if they're that bad at their jobs, they shouldn't have those jobs, because there's, even if climate change is played a large role in this happening, LA was completely unprepared like for it, and everyone knew that this could happen, yet they took no steps to make sure it didn't happen, or they could respond properly if it does happen. So why would LA want incompetent leaders like that? I'm not saying vote for Republicans, but I am saying maybe look at some independents, like maybe look at some third parties, because the Democratic Party is just the party of, at least we're better than Republicans, but they aren't even better than Republicans on every issue. On some issues, they might be slightly better, but not on all issues. So yeah, it's a race to the bottom right now. We got to find a way to break that.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the minerals out in North Carolina. We did cover that here on the show. We had Wyatt Reed on the ground in North Carolina at the time, covering that from the gray zone. So we're not joking around, guys. When we talk about BlackRock, we talk about these Raytheon, these companies coming in there, grabbing this land, taking those minerals. And so the lithium one that stuck out to me as something I put in the back of my head. And then I saw this. I'm going to play. This is, I didn't know we were going to go this far down the rabbit hole today, Jay, because we have some other stuff to get to. But I think it's important you see this. I don't know if you've seen this or if you guys are seeing this for the first time. They're literally talking about lithium in LA. Check this out.
The hazmat, we have found a underground lithium battery storage plant for bicycle batteries that has posed a huge hazard in that area. We are working with the hazmat teams to keep that contained. So a lot of that is just very dangerous. As you just heard, the air quality in some of that area is still very, very high and dangerous.
I'm sorry. Did we hear that correctly? Do we need to hear that again? In case you guys missed it, this is from the 12th. It's 2 days ago. This is an Eaton Fire update, right? From the official reporting on this lithium that they found, and they have to continue because it's dangerous. This is dangerous, but he's not reporting on it because of the things we're talking about. Who's gonna get a hold of that? What's it gonna be used for? He's talking about, no, this is dangerous. This is gonna cause more destruction. So it's an innocent reason to tell us, because it's an honest reason to tell us. But we're saying, why is that the thing? Why is that the thing that comes up? Why did that come up in North Carolina? BlackRock buying up all this property is going to own this stuff, grab these minerals and use it for what? I got to hear him say it one more time in case you guys missed it, and then I want your thoughts on this, Jay.
With the hazmat, we have found a underground lithium battery storage plant for
an underground storage plant, lithium, an underground. We found it. I mean, Jesus, man. We discovered this. So this is an honest report of what we found. Holy crap. What I don't even know what to say at this point.
I mean, it's a common theme. And just to exemplify how important, like lithium is to the oligarchs, I don't know if anyone remembers Elon Musk's favorite quote about we'll coup whoever we want. Well, he was referring to the government of Bolivia when America was being accused of fomenting a coup over there because they wanted to protect their lithium reserves. But all that was over lithium, because lithium is one of the main components that, the Tesla like cars need. And it's used in all these rechargeable batteries. And if they want to usher in the the internet of everything, the internet of things, where everything is connected, they're going to need a lot of lithium for that because they need to create a lot of batteries. And the saddest part about all this is there's actually other options on how we could create these batteries, and we don't even need to be using lithium. It's just that I feel like, to an extent, the ruling class likes creating war over minerals, but you can actually create hemp batteries. Like, you can use industrial hemp for the same purpose, like that we're using lithium for. And if you look at hemp's impact, like on the atmosphere, it's carbon negative. Like, it takes out a lot more carbon from the atmosphere. And it grows faster, I believe, than almost any other plant that gets that big. It grows very quickly, and there's so much we can do with it. Yet they never talk about those possibilities. They keep focusing on these limited minerals so they can turn us against each other and create more wars over resources, because the more instability there is in the world, unfortunately, the better it is for them. But lithium is definitely one of those resources that they've been putting a lot of energy into. So it's sad because even to achieve their stated goals, they don't need to be causing this, but they go down that road anyway because they want to keep us, oppressed. And, I don't know, man, it's crazy.